All right, let's go guitar shopping. We're gonna lock in 10% off with the current Fender sale. Look at this, it took it from $24.19 down to $21.77. Absolutely fantastic. It's John here from Play and Trade Guitars, and if you like new guitar reviews and informative buyer's guides, hit subscribe and join this community of guitar players. And some of my absolute favorite guitars that I have personally reviewed are on sale. Snag 10% off instantly when you shop using my link. I'm going to curate the best guitars amongst all the guitars currently on sale for a limited time. So if you're interested, act fast. You can watch the reviews on the channel. All right, let's dive in. I'm going to walk you from high to low price guitars, and I promise you there is a guitar right for every budget. So using my link below, you can shop the entire sale, and that includes Fender family of brands like Charvel, EVH, Gretsch, and Jackson. Today I'll focus on Fender and Squier, kicking it off with American Vintage 2, one of my favorite series. These are vintage inspired, year-by-year recreations of legendary Fender guitars. We're talking top shelf here with nitrocellulose finish and period correct finishes and features. Here's the 1957 Strat in beautiful vintage blonde. And you can see here, limited time only, 10% off. Add it to your cart and you will unlock an additional 10% off, saving you over $250. And I want to tell you that if you are buying high-end gear, it's the payment plans that makes it super easy. You can do 12 months, no interest payment plans. It's not a credit card, it's just a payment plan. It's super easy if you're buying top shelf gear. So check that out. Moving on to one of my favorites, a Strat with rosewood screams 60s. And here is the 1961 Strat in Olympic white. $24.19, add it to the cart for an additional 10% off. Here's the 63 Tele, also with rosewood, and I love the pickups in these series. You can watch my demos on the American Vintage 2 series, and they have these pure vintage single coil pickups which are voiced to be historically accurate, and they sound just beautiful. Construction of these guitars is top notch, and they include a hard shell case. Here is another series for significantly less money, which is popular for a lot of players who want noiseless pickups. If you play with a lot of high gain, you might like the cutting edge modern features of the Ultra 2 series, including features like an ebony fretboard, contoured heel for a comfortable playing experience, which you can see here on the back, helps you to get all the way up that guitar register, and a set of noiseless pickups. This is kind of the modern player's dream in a Stratocaster package, and it's $22.99, but you unlock that 10% off when you add it to the cart. Same here with the Tele. You can tell me if you love that solar flare. The last time I said I didn't like solar flare, I heard from a bunch of you who said you in fact love the color. So you know what? Bless you if you like the solar flare. It's also available in Texas T, and either of those colors are 10% off. Also, with the Ultra 2, you have the ebony fretboard and noiseless pickups on a Tele. Modern player experience on the Ultra 2. This guitar was one of the most surprising Fender guitars I have played. This is the Mike McCready of Pearl Jam Stratocaster. It's a little steeper at $19.99, but this guitar absolutely feels like a custom shop vintage Strat. It's insane. Watch the demo. Seeing and hearing is believing. This is also part of the sale. American Professional 2 is a series that I call my all-around favorite and all-around winner. You want modern playability, but you want a nod to the vintage origins of the Tele and Strat. You want the best of what Fender has to offer in an American-made affordable package. Look no further than Professional 2 and its instant savings, 10% off. And this you'll see instantly reflected in the price. Colors like Miami Blue, Butterscotch Blonde, and I actually, for the Tele, I really dig that black Tele. That is a sharp, classic look for sure. And the Jazzmaster is going to give you something in your arsenal of guitars that sounds like nothing else. Now, while the Jaguar is short scale and has pickups that are very similar to a Stratocaster, it's the Jazzmaster I prefer because it's full scale length, 25.5 inches, and it has Jazzmaster pickups which sound like nothing else. I love these guitars, and it's a great chance to grab one on sale. Professional 2 Stratocaster, of course. The Stratocaster is the all-time bestseller for Fender, and it's for sale. The Dark Knight is cool. I actually really like the Olympic white with that tortoiseshell pickguard. I love the aesthetic here. Rosewood fretboard, made in America. And while these are on sale, you can also, again, take advantage of payment plans. Here's the Pro 2 Strat with a maple fretboard, black finish. Here's the Pro 2 Tele with a rosewood fretboard. So just remember that amongst these, they're all on sale. You can choose maple fretboard or rosewood fretboard. In the American Professional 2 series, it's nice because you're going to get things like a modern 9.5-inch radius and a nice playable modern neck shape. It's going to have all the attributes that make that guitar ready for studio or stage right out of the box, and it's just my all-around pick. This is a popular guitar. I love the Paisley Tele. Again, 10% off. Don't overlook this one. I think that's super cool. How about something different? Tom DeLonge's Stratocaster. This is a pretty recent addition to the lineup, and this one is also on sale. So as I go through my favorites, this is a series that knocks it out of the park. Ventera 2 is vintage inspired, and they have 50s and 60s and 70s collections, and they're fantastic. Here's a 50s Strat. I'll tell you that personally, my favorite Strat that Fender makes, one of my absolute favorite Fender Strats that they make, period, is the Ventera 2 60s. Beautiful Lake Placid blue, which I just finished, which I just featured in a recent demo you can check out. Ventera 2 50s no-caster. And the no-caster has got a chunky neck. It's an homage to the Telecaster before it was called the Telecaster. It was originally called the Broadcaster. In a dispute with Gretsch, they were forced to remove the Broadcaster name. And for a period of time there in 1950 or 51, you had a Telecaster without any name on it before it became the Telecaster, inspired by television, the emerging technology of the time. And it was a great name that stuck, and it's one of my absolute favorite guitars that you can get from Fender. Here's another one of my favorites. This is the 60s Telecaster with a rosewood fretboard and vintage aesthetic all the way. 3-barrel saddle bridge, vintage voice single coil pickups. Great choice. Looks like Sonic Blue, or it's Fiesta Red is the one that's on sale. I'm a sucker for a red guitar, like I said, so I'd prefer the red one anyways. You can look at the new Player 2 modified Strat, and what's cool here is you're gonna have noiseless pickups. I reviewed this series. I was actually very impressed by the sound of these noiseless pickups in this setting. Player 2 modified extends also to the Telecasters. This again is gonna be a Tele with noiseless pickups in this series. And you actually also have locking tuners as well. So that's great value. I mean, the locking tuners by themselves are like over $100. So that's value right there. And the noiseless pickups are gonna let you play higher gain without all the fizz and noise. So a great thing to check out. This is a cool guitar that often gets overlooked. This is the Amber finish, which is on sale, and it's the custom Telecaster FMT HH. It's got a set of Seymour Duncan humbuckers with a coil split, so it's kind of a workhorse all-around guitar that can do everything. It's even got a cool flamed top, and because you have 2 Seymour Duncan humbuckers that are splittable, you can get humbucker or single coil sounds out of this Tele. Super versatile Tele. I've used this personally in the studio, and it is a great guitar. I definitely recommend it. Another cool out-of-the-box Tele that I was really impressed with because it was different and I wanted to own one, and here's your chance to own it as part of this sale. Player 2 Telecaster HH, 2 humbuckers on a Tele, very cool. And if you're looking for more of a traditional experience, the best Fender Strat or Tele under $1,000, in my opinion, for your money, for my money, is gonna be the Player 2 Strat with its beautiful rolled edges, choice of rosewood or maple, super playable guitar. The voicing of these pickups is fantastic. Just an all-around solid Stratocaster at a great price. I do recommend the Player 2 over the new Standard series, and especially now that you can snag this for 10% off. So take advantage of Player 2, 10% off. So whether you're starting out or upgrading, if you want the best recommendation for a Stratocaster or a Telecaster under $1,000, it's gotta be Player 2, and right now you'll save an additional 10% when you add it to the cart. Here's a special run. Now we're getting into Squier, so I told you we're working down in price here. This Classic Vibe 50s Tele is absolutely beautiful. Check out this white blonde finish, vintage aesthetic with the barrel saddles. And I just thought this was absolutely beautiful with the gold hardware. And this is also 10% off. So let's just see what happens when we add it to the cart. You see here, we take it from $505.99 to $455. Instant savings when you add it to the cart. How cool is that? The Squier Paranormal Strat-O-Sonic. This guitar is so cool. It's got a mahogany body on a Stratocaster, which is unusual. It's really kind of like Gibson territory. And it's got 2 P90 pickups on a Strat. This guitar is so fun and so cool for your arsenal. You should have a guitar with P90s. Here's a super affordable way to do it, under $500. Knock off an additional 10%. If you're only gonna own one Telecaster or Strat and you're doing it on a budget, and you want something that sounds fantastic and is vintage inspired, Classic vibe is where it's at. I love the 50s Telecaster, this one in butterscotch blonde or white blonde. The white blonde is fantastic. Both of these you're gonna save on right now. You can also check out the 50s or the 60s Strat, and that's gonna add a Laurel fretboard to have a similar feel to Rosewood, but at a budget price. Let's take one of these guitars and let's pop it in our cart and see what happens. So I'm gonna add this Fender Vintage 2 1961 Strat at $24.19. Let's go ahead and add this to the cart and you'll see instant savings. Look at this. It took it from $24.19 down to $21.77. Absolutely fantastic. Check this out. I can select 12 payments of $198.72, interest-free payments to buy a $2,200 guitar. Makes it a whole lot easier. So you can take advantage of all this when you buy new gear using my link. When you do buy gear using my link, you help me make these videos, but it's a win-win because you get fast free shipping, you get easy payment plans, you can take advantage of this sale, and you can get the gear that I recommend through the demos on Play and Trade Guitars into your hands that much faster. This is a great sale to not sleep on. It's only gonna be around for another week or so. So I'm putting this special video out just to let you know that some of my favorite Fender guitars are on sale. Which of the guitars in this collection pique your interest? What will be your next addition to the collection in either Fender, Squier, or any of these other related brands? Talk to me in the comments. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to talk to you, see what you're interested and excited to buy and what you want to see on the channel. I wanted to give you a heads up on this sale so you don't miss it. It's a really important sale and it's got some of my favorite guitars. Until next time, thanks for hanging out. I'm John for Play and Trade Guitars. See you on the next video and keep playing.